All right, buy lows. So you're just going to tell us kind of how you feel about these guys and what you'd be willing to give up. Jamey's going to start with Jamar Chase, who has had only one good game so far, and Tetairoa McMillan, who has had only, I guess, one good game so far. So Chase and McMillan. Go ahead, Jamey.
Well, I think obviously everybody's frustrated with Jamar Chase that drafted him, knowing that Joe Burrow is going to be out for the majority of the season, and he's been a disappointment, like you said, in all but one game. Certainly the last two games without Burrow starting, but this is a big-time bounce-back opportunity for him against Detroit. Clearly, this is the easiest defense so far that Jake Browning has faced, and I think we will get a good Jamar Chase performance. You're not going to get peak Jamar Chase, so understand that if you're buying him, but I think that's the selling point in trying to get him because the manager that has him understands that as well. And so if you can, let's say, turn George Pickens and maybe something else, because I don't know if George Pickens by himself gets it done, but the idea of somebody who's playing at a very high level that somebody else may have had some interest in, and you mentioned it, we're going to redraft round one. There's a lot of running backs you could probably throw at the Jamar Chase manager as well that they may have missed out on because of what they took in round one and maybe in round two. So it probably needs to be a package of players to get Jamar Chase. But if he starts to look like himself as the schedule lightens up a little bit, it's not going to be easy. And obviously the quarterback situation is not getting any better until the end of the year. But still, you want to try to acquire him if you can, especially if you need some wide receiver help, knowing what that position looks like right now.
Okay, Dave, you wanted to talk a little bit more about Jamar Chase, who Jamey listed as a buy low.
I agree that he's a good buy low. I just wouldn't break the bank and overpay for a guy who I've got it right in front of me. 10 career games where he's played at least 28 snaps with Jake Browning, 2 big games, 2 Jamar Chase style fantasy games, and 8 games with 12.1 or fewer PPR points. I don't think we can view him as the type of studly receiver. I mean, I think everybody knows that, but I'm not even sure if we can or should view him as like a low-end wide receiver 1 rest of season. We need to see some significant change in Cincinnati before we do that. Browning ain't it. The offensive line's in trouble. Their defense is really bad, which means that they're going to be in a lot of games where opposing defenses are going to predictably play defense to cover Jamar Chase because they know that the Bengals are going to be passing a ton against them. And maybe that was the case beforehand.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot easier. Hold on. It's a lot easier now because it's Jake Browning behind a worse offensive line that he was playing with in 2023. So I don't mind going after Jamar Chase. I'd have to double check what I've got the schedule projected as far as ranking rest of season in the next 4 weeks, but I don't think it's pretty good. They do play in the AFC North. There used to be some really good defenses in there. Now I think there's only 2. I would be a little, I would caution people, don't spend too much for the name because I don't think the numbers are going to match what we were expecting, or even like 60% of what we were expecting.
I will just say, like, the next 2 weeks are probably not good, but then Pittsburgh, Jets, Bears, Steelers, Patriots, Ravens twice, Dolphins. There's a lot of good matchups for Jamar Chase.
Well, they got Detroit.
I think this week could actually be really good for him.
Yeah, Detroit's got 2 defensive backs who are injured, but cornerbacks, right? I mean, Arnold and Reed.
Right.
They might be down both of their starting corners for this game. Now, the pass rush could be an issue. That's going to be an issue most weeks. It's just the question is Jake Browning the competent quarterback we saw 2 years ago, or is he one of the worst quarterbacks in football? He's played Minnesota and Denver so far.
I think they'll make a change if he continues to be this bad.
I would agree. This is a big week for them. Home game. In again, a team that they're supposed to lose to, but the secondary issues there. I don't think they win the game, but I think if they look better offensively, then you got to feel better about where the receiving core, the passing game is. If Browning comes out of this, a little bit better. If they continue to look dysfunctional and Chase continues to bark at Zach Taylor, then they may go shopping, and the Giants may be the first team they call.
Yeah, someone else is going to be their quarterback. Going to be Jameis or Winston or Jameis or Wilson or Cousins. I don't know. I hope it is. I hope we get a change because they got to save their season. He's got to save his job.